Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly and I just got out of Hustlers. Yeah, it's a movie. First off, I just want to apologize for the lateness of this review. I really intended this to come out almost a week ago, but, well, my work had other plans, as well as a cold, which I'm still recovering from. So if I don't quite sound great yet, my throat sounded like felt like sandpaper 2 days ago, and it's still recovering from that. And on the other side, I wasn't really sure how I'm supposed to feel about this one. If you've been keeping up in the film world, this movie is getting a hell of a lot of praise for basically dropping Jaws at TIFF, Toronto Film Festival. But personally, I felt the movie was meh. There's some good things inside of it, and maybe if it had gone through maybe another rewrite or maybe a couple of scene changes, I could see it being a good, great film. But I don't really understand the praise this is getting versus the actual quality of the movie that I saw. So it felt like I just needed a little while to process this movie, and I think I've mostly come down and figured out where my opinion lands. And for those who don't want spoilers, this movie is alright. It's perfectly entertaining, and if that's what you're looking for, great. Personally, I think that there are much better movies out in theaters right now that you can go see, but good on you if you like this one. But for those who don't mind staying for spoilers, let's actually look into what this movie did right, in my opinion. And starting off as the big one that you're going to hear from pretty much everyone, Jennifer Lopez is fucking great. This is honestly Jennifer Lopez at her best, and it really helps that in the first 15 minutes of her being on screen, she does a jaw-dropping striptease for everybody, which, frankly speaking, since most of us reviewers that I've seen anyway are guys, yeah, kind of had a boner through most of this. Just gonna say it. Okay, jokes aside, her actual performance is very commanding. Every scene that she's in, she grabs the spotlight, and she is the center of the universe. You have to focus on her no matter what, which is both to the detriment of the movie, but I'll get to that later. But overall, I can honestly see why people are giving Jennifer Lopez praise in this. She very much deserves it. Also, I will admit the hustle in this movie called Hustlers is really entertaining, and it actually does what the movie The Kitchen earlier, I think a month ago, God, has it already been over a month? Tried to do with showing these women taking control of their lives and building a criminal empire, more or less. The general plot of this movie is that a group of strippers, more or less after the market crash of 2008, after all of their wealthy clients stopped throwing all the excess of money they got from, cheating America at them, decided to take some of it back by drugging these different Wall Street clients of theirs, and while they are in drunken stupor state, steal as much money from them as they possibly can by running up cards, getting all of their information off of them. And the movie does show this hustle take form, shows how they began, and there's some missteps here and there. They got screwed over a couple of times, and how they expanded this into this, frankly, little girls' club mafia of about 10 or 15 people, and how they got thousands, probably even close to $1 million out of all of them. I mean, millions each, And yeah, unlike The Kitchen that tried that earlier this year and really sucked at it, this one I actually say was very entertaining. When the hustle starts on this movie, I am just completely engaged into everything. It was genuinely fascinating. And before I move on to the bad, I will say the one other thing that I find this movie did extremely well was just general direction and set design. Because honestly, this movie looks gorgeous. Every scene inside of these strip clubs is just honestly really, really fucking beautiful. Well lit, well shot. It really does make you feel like you're in one of these establishments, which I have never actually been in. Ever. So I can't say if that's accurate to what it's like, but I mean, it made me feel like I was in one. Isn't it nice being from Utah? However, I think we have to talk about the bad stuff in this, and you might notice I'm not really talking about anybody else in this movie except for Jennifer Lopez, And a lot of the buzz you're going to hear about this movie is only going to be centered around Jennifer Lopez. Mostly because everyone else in this movie, including the lead actress, Constance Wu, I believe her name is, they're not actually very good or entertaining at all. I shouldn't go that far. The problem is that Jennifer Lopez commands so much of your attention. And you keep forgetting a lot of the time that this story isn't really about her. If anything, Jennifer Lopez is the antagonist of this film because pretty much everything that happens inside of this film is caused by her. And I do mean both the goods and the bads. It was her decisions. And Constance Wu is just more of just juggling everything. The constant thing that keeps being brought up in this movie is that Constance Wu's character has a dream where she's in the back of a car only to notice that while it's speeding down this roadway, there's no driver. And no matter how much she jumps into the seat and tries to stop it or whatever, she can't stop this car before it inevitably crashes, which is basically a metaphor for this whole movie. How this scheme gets going, it's just small stuff, then spike to a little bit more hardcore stuff, to spike to really hardcore stuff, to really spike to hardcore stuff, and eventually there's got to be the downward fall. So, yeah, it's not subtle, but, that's the thing that keeps being brought up. So, Jennifer Lopez pretty much causes all of the spikes in the story, and Constance Wu is just reacting to them. There's only one sequence of events where I really felt anything for this character, who is essentially just experiencing life through someone else most of the time. The only time I really felt anything for Constance Wu in this movie was when, near the third act, a job goes bad, she can't get a hold of Jennifer Lopez, has to deal with all of it on herself because the client jumped out a fucking window because of the drugs. She's got to get that guy to an ER before he dies, lest they all go to jail for something really bad. She's got to get her daughter to school without being able to change out of her fucking stripper clothes. And then she has to go and pick up her mother, only to find her mom's dead because she was old and died in her sleep. Really, this is the only sequence of events that matches the ham-fisted dream that this character has that really shows you can't stop this car no matter what you do. It really shows the juggling at that point. But other than her, I can't say anybody else in this movie even gets a fucking character. There's 2 other girls inside this main team, and then there's like 6 others who join, not to mention all the other strippers at the beginning of the movie who get basically nothing. Cardi B's in this movie for like a second, and she has her boobs out. I mean, she's pretty, but anything else? Julia Stiles plays the reporter that apparently cracked this story originally, and she's just there. You could have had her do her entire sequences narrated, never actually show her on screen. Nothing changes. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't add anything to the story at all. She's just there to look at the camera and go, and how did that make you feel? Is that okay? Are you going to do this? Okay. So tell me about the next one. Tell me about Doug. Because they actually do censor her because they don't want to actually put the guy's real name out there, which is good. There's a lot of little audio tricks like that I will admit are kind of cool, where they censor certain words so they don't, give out information. Or another one when Constance Wu, who's telling this whole story to the reporter, like turns off the freaking recorder and suddenly everything goes silent and you can't hear what's being said because, well, if it's not on record, it's not on record. But other than that, there's nothing. There's nothing to the point of why was this being told backwards? Why were any of these other characters really shown other than to have a couple of recognizable faces? Why am I engaged in any of this when Jennifer Lopez isn't on the screen? Also, I'm just going to say it, the comedy on this comes off as really teenage mean girl-ish. I'm guessing that the comedy is what's supposed to carry over between these scenes without Jennifer Lopez, but most of the things that come out of everyone's mouth come off as very mean girl-esque teenage drama. Like, I can't be the only one to think that this comes off as just patronizing, right? I do know that people actually talk like this. I do, but it's really annoying when you get stuck in a scene for 30 minutes at a Christmas party that really has nothing to do with anything. And more or less, all of this is about, oh, clothes. Oh, that's so cute. It's so you, isn't it? Oh, it's so me. Can we get a little less here? Just something that doesn't come off like these girls still need to graduate high school. But honestly, those are all small potatoes. The big thing in this movie that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way was how it kept trying to really imply that Constance Wu's character was semi innocent in all of this, because she wasn't. In fact, I'd argue that she was probably more menacing and probably worse than Jennifer Lopez's, and she was supposed to be the antagonist. The whole interview thing of, getting the story out from this one person really gives you a very, very narrow focus of what happened. And it just shows it all from Constance Wu's perspective, where it's just all about how it's affecting her. It's always hurting her. It's her mom that died. It's her family that she couldn't get the daughter to the school and whatnot. It was her who tried to convince Jennifer Lopez not to hire the coke heads that got them caught in the end. It was her. It was all her. And then the ending comes and she sells out her friends so that she doesn't have to go to jail. And I'm supposed to believe that it's okay because she has a daughter. I'm just going to put this out there. They're all criminals here. They may have been stealing from people who are equally criminals, being these Wall Street guys, but not every single one of the victims was a Wall Streeter. We got that when they tried to expand their clientele list. And hell, the big one that got them caught was apparently draining some guy who just cheated on his wife once. It kind of lowers the blow here and lets you feel a lot more for these characters because, well, they're only stealing from criminals, but they totally weren't. So why should I feel that any of them should get off without without jail time? And then we're supposed to believe that Constance Wu selling out her friends, who two of which were still in jail, and one of them, I think they got like probation in the end. I think it was Jennifer Lopez who got some kind of probation and was able to stay out of jail. But at the same time, the others did get jail time. I believe it was 5 years. Do any of these girls not feel betrayed? The movie ends with Julia Stiles basically saying, you should totally call Jennifer Lopez. And just like, the fuck? No. Why would she ever forgive you? You sold them out. This movie feels very Hollywood, and it really wants you to push that this is the good one out of this group. And no, she wasn't. She was just as guilty. Just because she didn't want to say, hire cokeheads so they didn't get caught, doesn't mean that she's a good person. It just means that she's smarter than Jennifer Lopez, who really was more friendly. And that kind of rewriting just rubs me the wrong way. It did it in The Greatest Showman, and it does here. But overall, can I say this was a bad movie? I mean, I was never actively, bored in the movie, even at its lowest points. It wasn't terrible. It was very well acted, and there was a great performance that overshadowed the others, but it was still a great performance that I enjoyed. So was it bad or good? Personally, I just feel this movie's getting really overhyped by the Toronto Film Festival and their crowd, the people there. And personally, it's trying to be both The Kitchen and Widows with a little bit of Oceans mixed in the middle, and it just didn't fully come through. It could have been better, and I can see easy ways it could have been better. But overall, I will say that for what it is, I'd probably give it a red box rating. This is not worth ignoring outright, and I'm not saying maybe skip it and don't spend any money on it, but if you're looking for a rental, you won't be disappointed with this. You'll enjoy it, especially in the first 15 minutes with Jennifer Lopez's striptease, because that was really fucking great. And no, I'm not just saying that because, I'm a guy. I'm saying that because, damn, she's like 55 up there. She looks great, and she's able to pull off some pretty decent moves. That's just, damn. You should check it out for yourself, though. That's why I'll give it a red box rating. It's worth a watch. I just don't think it's worth a watch in theaters, especially when Ready or Not is out. You've got it. You've got Ad Astra coming out in a day or two after the recording of this video. It's just, there's a lot of other choices in theaters that are worth that $10, $15 you're going to spend. And that's it for me. Did you see Hustlers Tell me what you think about it in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, all that stuff. Everything that I have to say and do so that this channel, survives and I can one day hopefully have this pay for itself. That'd be awesome. Also, for those unaware, I have been streaming pretty consistently on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 to 1 in the morning Mountain Standard Time. Right now it's just Pokemon Heart Gold randomized, but we're almost done with that, and I'm going to start changing up the game here. Going to do a Halloween specific one through October, which will probably take over every single Thursday, and then Tuesdays will be Pokemon again. That's the general plan of what I have, but we'll see if that changes. And yeah, that's it for me, and I'll see you all next time.